Greenhills to order. Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have the clerk call the roll, please.
Adams.
Here.
Burke.
Here.
Dries.
Here.
Hermes.
Here.
Visnich. Here. Wolferman.
Here.
Merle.
Here. It sounds like we've got a full house tonight, and that's a good thing. Before we get off into the regular business, I want to acknowledge the last TV meeting for two of our colleagues here. Kenny Burke and Chris Visnich have decided to retire from council. Their seats were filled in this past election, and their replacements will take over in a month. But while I still have you here, I'd like to take this opportunity to present you, Kenny, and you, Chris, with a plaque from your colleagues on council, the key to the city, recognizing your, in Kenny's case, 24 years of service with the village. As a council member, many years before, he was retired as a captain of the Greenhills Fire Department. And we've seen Kenny with a broom in hand sweeping up streets all over town, picking up litter thing, and we've got a proclamation here declaring next Wednesday.
Yeah, it says over sweeping the streets.
Sweeping the streets, right. And Christine is responsible for getting me involved in village government through putting me on the Community Development Committee in 1997, shortly after she was appointed to council. Chris has served 14 years on council and is retiring, having accomplished a tremendous amount by reinvigorating community development, starting the ball rolling on our the concerts that we've just seen the 14th season of, I believe. You know, the new signs, well, not so new signs though, at the village limits, the banners on Winton Road, the Greenhills Clean Sweep, Pioneer Park, the gazebo, and many other projects. And you know, Kenny's been kind of a quieter guy. He's kind of a quiet and work behind the scenes fellow. But you know, whenever there's a job to be done, say, Kenny, do this job, it would get done. You could count on it. And Chris they both have exhibited a tremendous amount of leadership for the village, and I'm personally grateful for all their guidance and help and just leadership through the years. So, you know, this is not your last meeting. You're not getting off that easy. But, you know, while we're on TV, I'd like to thank you personally, and let's give you a big round of applause. You're welcome to make it now or save it for later.
Well, I'll just say that in my 24 years, there was never a person on council that wasn't there for the good of Greenhills, and I enjoyed working with all of them, except for this present council, of course.
Thank you.
Very happy to have been here. It's been a very rewarding experience, and I would encourage anybody, if they wanted to take an attempt to run for council or serve the public in some other ways, like I did with the fire department also, again, very rewarding.
Well, and I have to say that I had no aspirations ever to be a politician. Never had any interest in it, didn't want to do it. Kenny was the youngest council member on council when I joined council, and I think he talked me into it, in fact. And it has been an honor, it has been a privilege, it has been a joy to think about things that I wanted to make happen here in Greenhills. And I didn't make them happen by myself. All the things that Fred mentioned, he was involved in. You quickly learn that being on council, you don't have power to change Greenhills. But you do have ideas that if you get the right people working with you, many heads coming together make things happen. And so it's been fun. It's been a lot of work. And I will miss all of my buddies here, but I will not miss the meetings, the many, many meetings. And it has been quite an experience, and I've learned a lot, and I love Greenhills more now than I did when I came on. So that's where I am. Thank you. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you very much. Quite welcome, quite welcome. All right, to the business at hand. At this point, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the November 2nd regular council meeting and November 15th work session.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the November 2nd regular council meeting and the November 15th work session. Is there any discussion?
I have a couple changes or things to comment about here. The November 1st minutes, in the first paragraph, it misquotes and says November 4th instead of November 1st, even though it's November 1st at the top of the page.
Okay.
Okay, so that needs to be kind of corrected. And there's the questionable word, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the bottom of the page. On the front page, same minutes, November 1st.
Conscience?
And science should be, I think should be another word in there anyway.
Conscience. Should be,
Should be
everybody should
Should
be
be
conscious.
conscious.
IOUS, I believe,
Yeah.
is the,
CIOUS.
all right.
Okay. The other November 15th minutes, I did send changes to Kathy, and she got all except on the page 2, November 15th minutes. Under Community Development Committee, 1, 2, 3, 4th bullet down, there is a repeat there of in the. We stuttered there. It was suggested to consider placement in the document. Take one of the endas out.
Yeah, I have to do this.
So I felt those
All right.
should not be let go through.
All right, so we've got the minutes as corrected.
You could miss that.
All in favor of the approval of the minutes as corrected? Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes stand as corrected.
Somebody else is gonna have to step up and take a closer look at these, Chris.
Our English major. Glenn, do you have
Yeah, I've got 2 changes to the agenda. I'd like to add an ordinance authorizing the manager to execute a purchase agreement to our new business.
all right.
And when we get to executive session, delete the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words. Delete the possible real estate matter,
Okay,
because
so
that will be addressed.
is that a motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Is there a second to make the
Second.
addition and change to the agenda? New business, all in favor of the changes to the agenda?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, agenda's changed. Now let's move to the part of the meeting where residents have an opportunity to address council. When you're recognized, please come forward to the lectern and give your name, address, state your comments, questions. 3 minutes, no more, no less. Well, less if you want, but no more.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council, I must commend you on the festive flowers here. That's very nice for the occasion. It's always good to be going into the season of Christmas, season of love, season of hope. I'd like to comment just a little bit on some of the earlier statements about people sweeping streets. I joined County Burke in being an avid street sweeper on Chalmers Lane, and I just finished about 20 minutes ago cleaning up the leaves in the gutter. And in terms of picking up litter, I think I've had a pretty good track record at that. Although there's some times when the village takes kind of a harsh look at people that are doing volunteer work. So I think going into 2012, we need to have more of a spirit of generosity and uplifting spirits rather than trying to put people down. After the election, well, during the election, I found out one thing. Just as Chris said, she never wanted to be a politician. I would say exactly the same thing for me. I tried because I wanted to help make change. What I've kind of come to find out is that in the capacity that I have been serving the village as a political activist, raising questions, bringing things to your attention, making suggestions, I have affected far more change than any one of you sitting there. And so from that vein, I do believe that that certainly is a role that any citizen can aspire to. We need to have more citizens get active and get involved. The question that I would put to you right now is when? When? When can we expect to see the Charter Review Commission established? And will it be something where you just appoint the folks that you want, or is the door going to be open to everybody? That's the first when. The second when is when are we going to see the performance audit? You've talked about it, Mayor Merrill. You assigned it to the municipal manager, and I haven't heard anything about it since. So again, the word is when. The next thing is, when are we going to have a tree commission? We seem to be very adept at applying for tree city designations and apply, but when are we going to actually have a tree commission that actually functions as they should for Greenbelt community? Another when would be, when can we expect each and every one of you to attend your new session of the Sunshine Law House Bill number 9 training? When can we expect you to take the ethics seminar, which the auditor and the ethics commission will actually bring those seminars to your doorstep?
Thank you. Your time's up. As
So,
far as answers to your question,
with the question.
your time's up. The charter committee will be appointed in the coming year. It's will be done according to the current village charter. And I'll have to work back, and I'm not so sure I want this on the ballot during a presidential election, though maybe that's best. So, you know, I've got to work out the timing for that. Every one of us who has been elected is required to attend the Sunshine Law during their term of office.
Correct.
So that'll be dealt with. Actually, we've got up until the end of the term in office, to tell you the truth, but I prefer that everyone did it earlier. The new council members are, at least one of them I know for certain, is signed up to take new council training to the Ohio Municipal League. The tree commission, I can't comment on. Performance audit, that's still in the hands of the managers. Thank you very much for your questions and concerns and all your sweeping. Right.
Open meetings are a true thing for us to celebrate, and I'd like to see
Pat,
each
thank
and
you
every
very
minute
much.
of it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Maria Walther, and I live on 27 Denver Road, and I came to report on the AGS, the Global Academy. They have right now 93 students, 37 mentors, PNG executives, Cincinnati Financial, Firemen, Delta Airlines, and retired teachers. They come every other Friday to meet with a group of students. Miami University asked those students to visit their campus. They went in groups of 30, and they shadow students attending college classes. And right now they're starting their program advertisement for the incoming freshman class. The Chinese singing competition was held at Miami University in conjunction with the Handball and the Confucius Institute of Miami University. 2 AGS students were second on the competition. One was Micaiah Dawson and Alex Kuhn, who she met when he did the presentation here. They sang together in Chinese, and they won the second prize, $180. Also, Cincinnati Financial gave gave a donation to the program for $7,300, so the students can take that trip to Arkansas in the springtime. And they're trying to, right now, they're looking for involvement, out-of-pocket money from the students between $75 and $80. They're still looking for other donations to see if that can lower that amount. And I reported on the meeting of my assignment, which was public relations, and it was to bring the Global Academy to you on the last council meeting, and I did. And I also featured them on an article that was published on the Cincinnati Enquirer on November the 14th. So just wanted to keep you abreast of the academy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Jeff Halter, 174 Farragut. And on a lighter note, the light up Greenhills I just thought was fantastic. We walked around and we saw so many people having just a blast. The ice sculpture, the carriage ride, the hot chocolate. It was really picturesque. I took a couple videos and some pictures. I'm hoping to post those on YouTube for those of you that can take a look at it. But I thought it was just a great time for the community, and I thought that everybody from little to big were really enjoying themselves. The other thing is, as far as Sunshine Law, I signed up for a class or a seminar in February, so if anybody would like to ride up with me, just let me know. Thanks.
All right.
Did you have to clean your shoes when you got home?
That was the only downside, but I thought I'd leave that one behind.
Is there anyone else? All right, moving on, reports of village officials, municipal manager.
Okay, thank you,
Go
Mayor.
back.
We have a number of items tonight. First, the ordinance that's on your agenda tonight, the fee schedule, is an item that we've talked about a number of times in committee. I guess that what I would encourage you to go ahead and pass it, and just know that we can make amendments to this at any time if any of the committees feel additional fees or changes in fees are warranted, but this would give us a good start for the new year to have this in place. The second item that you have, which actually maybe I should wait, let me know if you would prefer for me to talk about the ordinance at the time we're going to be considering it, or if you want me to review it now. Does it matter? Do you want me to?
Is it
The sale contract right now?
I'd prefer you do it when we
Let's do
Talk
it.
about it, okay. All right, we'll come back to that. A couple things I want to mention. Leaf collection is scheduled to be completed tomorrow. However, we've had a lot of rain, and there's still more to be collected. So the service department will be continuing through the rest of this week to finish collections. So
They were out today.
yes, I know.
Picking up
It's
wet leaves,
It's
wet,
wet,
heavy
it's
leaves.
heavy, but they're working their way through it, so just know that we'll do it until the job's done. I wanted to mention the Greater Cincinnati Waterworks project. We finally have a start date for that project, December 12th. So it's coming very soon. This is a long contract scheduled to go 270 days. They're hoping to finish it sooner than that, but they will be working through the winter months. They anticipate starting along Damon Road. Right now, one of our biggest concerns are parking issues, in particular on Burley Circle. That was, there's a couple blocks of Burley, one in particular, where it's going to be kind of tricky for the traffic during the duration The project's actually in two parts. They're going to be putting in a new water main, and they're also going to be putting in all new taps. And in that particular area of Burley, so they only inconvenience the residents once, they're going to do them at the same time. So that's the good thing for Burley, but there are definitely gonna be sections along Burley where they have to stop traffic for maybe as much as 15 minutes, while they load a truck or dump some concrete. It's, met with them out on the site and tried to find a way around that, but there's literally no way around it. If the width of the street.
What time do they plan on starting in the mornings usually?
They have indicated 7 o'clock. We told them it's really too early, but they'll be doing just set up and getting their things ready and, kind of staging their crews.
Okay. I'm just trying to think of the traffic, people getting out and going to work.
Right. You're absolutely right. And they're concerned, too, that it gets darker in the evening, so they'll be stopping a little bit sooner, which is good for when people get home. But there will always be plates on the road, so people can park in the evenings.
Okay.
It'll be, just during the day, there'll be some issues, traffic.
I guess the good news in about 2 weeks, the days start getting longer.
I know that is good news, isn't it? Yeah.
Have we had coordination with the fire department too on that, from the fire hydrants out of service and all that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and there will be new hydrants going in as part of the project. And the upside for the residents is they will all be getting new taps as well, so that's a good thing. I'm sure they'll appreciate that. Might not seem like it during the winter months, but eventually.
Are they going off the off streets off really as well? Like Brent, Briarwood and
Redner.
Some of them, not all of them.
Okay.
And I can give you a complete list of those. Also, talking about projects, we had applied for funding, issue 2 funding for Wood Road, what we were calling a phase 1. That, if you recall, we had 2 opportunities. If we weren't funded under the first pot, which we were not, as a village, we have the option to go to something called a small government fund, and it does look like our project will make it into that batch for what we would do for funding. We have a fairly high score, and if you noticed, we had to put a new plate on the road by another catch basin, new pothole. And that is in the area, so we took pictures of it, and that should help us to get funding next year. We're going to try to minimize anything that we might have to spend on that. And it's actually the catch basin that's caving in and causing the hole in the top. So if we can do something to prop up the catch basin temporarily, that should stop the hole from getting bigger. But that's what's going on there, and that's hopefully will be funded next year. And in the meantime, we'll just try to maintain if we can.
The scope of funds for that project, or the grant amount will be about?
Probably about $500,000 or $600,000. The full project.
And the villages?
We could do a 20% match. It just depends on the scoring.
Okay, it could be less though.
Could be less.
Good. Keep our fingers crossed.
Okay. We discussed at the last work session the swimming pool contract, and you asked me to have some answers for you, and I jotted down some of these so we have the data. We asked that a 30-day cancellation clause be added, and that has been added. A cost for concessions on a daily basis, which is something that they can do, would be $95 a day for the whole. If we were to add it on for the duration of the entire project, that would be a total of $8,645 for a new total of $118,145. And if you could turn to the second page of that handout, I wanted to give you some additional figures. Previously, I gave you, I think, like 07 through 11, and I took the time to look closely at this year's funding for the pool for some additional comparisons. In particular, we wanted to know what were our other costs associated with the swimming pool. And I think I was relatively conservative in coming up with these figures for you, but if you skip down to the middle of that page, I'm estimating that other costs not included in the pool budget at all total about $17,900. And you can read this on your own, but just to highlight some of the additional issues. The service department, obviously, right now, they're covering the pool, they're uncovering it in the spring, doing all the winterizing, or else we're getting contractors to do that for us. Cleaning, storing equipment, weekly checks through the winter, those sorts of things. Finance is a huge one, because the processing of all of the new hires, putting them on payroll, answering questions from the employees about the payroll, that is a significant amount of time, and also the actual cost of our payroll service goes up in the summer because of the additional, we pay by the check. So the more checks you generate, the higher your fee's gonna be. So that's an additional savings that we would have. Then administrative time on just troubleshooting, monitoring, resolving issues, things like that. The figures then, if you jump back up to the top, without the concessions, we're at $110,184. If we added the additional costs in, we're at $128,084. And then the figure below that reflects our concession costs for this year, the additional supplies, to give you some comparisons. So I hope those were the comparisons that you were looking for. One other concern that I've heard in the community, and that's the concern on the part of residents about the Forest Park pool. Apparently the last year an operation had been contracted out to an entity, and I looked into that and learned that it was actually the Powell Crosley YMCA that was operating that for them. They had put it out to bid and they were the lowest bid, and my understanding is that was an attempt to, kind of a last attempt to see if they could make that economical, but by no means was that, the straw that broke the back and caused them to close their pool. That was just one final effort to try to do it. I don't think we're in that situation at all. We're not going down here, so I don't think that would be a concern for us. And I wanted to mention that. Other questions on this?
No, I mean, I think this is a question council's got to deal with. I appreciate you putting those numbers together. So it looks like, all things considered, it's about a wash, dollar-wise.
I think that given the other costs, though, I think it'll actually be savings. Well, if we're up to, the new cost on his at 118, and with other departments, well, with concessions, we'd be at like 135. So
there we go.
And he, if you remember, he mentioned other ways, but just from the consistency and how things are handled, the wear and tear on your pool's now better, and so yes. So I think there's intangibles that we really can't put a price tag on.
And the service department employees will be doing other things.
Right, that frees their time to do other things.
And yours,
yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah, that's true. Because all of those items that I mentioned, they would be covering. Doing them. So let me know if you have any more questions.
All right. Well, it's not on the agenda for any kind of action tonight. I suggest that we discuss this further at the work session, and perhaps for a setting on the agenda for January.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I did a little bit of legwork. I'll talk about that briefly right now on this.
Yeah, if it's
Well,
germane to this particular conversation.
Contacted some pool regulars and discussed it with them to kind of get the impact, and also to kind of let them know what the facts were, and including Trish Cavode. And frankly, I expected some resistance to change, that normal resistance to change, but there really was very little, and they were kind of understanding and kind of on board with their thinking on this. I also called Evendale, talked to person in recreation down there, and I talked to Montgomery, City of Montgomery, who both have the same company, and their opinions were not just flat opinions, factual opinions. They were thrilled with these people, and thinking, I can't remember the duration. Oh, here it is right in front of me. Evendale's had them for 6 years, and they had another pool company prior to that managing, and the company, they just couldn't be more complimentary of Same way with Montgomery. Montgomery's had them for longer than that, and they were thrilled with them too. So this guy apparently was with Cincinnati Pool Management or something like that, and he started this company, and he kind of had, I think, Montgomery prior to that time, so they had a lot of experience with him. When they have an issue, he's there the next day, and customer service is very good. So it was all good.
All right, thanks, bud.
Thanks for investigating. Cool.
A couple more items. I had indicated a time frame. I think in our work session on some issues I'd be addressing concerning the shopping center. And one of them involved submitting a letter to the state for consideration of situational distress designation, so I've given you a copy of that letter. They'll be evaluating it during this month of December, making decisions on in January. So. We will also have the Hamilton County Mutual Aid Agreement for Law Enforcement on the agenda for the work session coming up. And finally, just to comment on our holiday schedule, since we have the holidays fall on the weekend. I just wanted to let you know that we are actually closed on Friday, December 23rd, and Monday, December 26th. We also close at noon on Friday. I guess that's actually New Year's Eve. The Friday before New Year's, which is New Year's Eve. And we are also we'll be saying the wrong dates. Right, the 30th.
And then January
Half day on
2nd.
the 30th, and
January 2nd to be closed.
that's
That's
correct.
the first day.
That's correct.
All right.
Okay.
One question. The situational distress designation, sorry, I don't remember. I don't know what that is or.
Okay,
I don't remember the definition.
what that designation is for us, there are some funding programs that if you have that designation, you can apply directly to a pot of money without competition statewide. If you don't get the designation, then you go up against all the other projects for the state. So it would eliminate a really big step for us in getting some funding.
Gets us in on different categories in
Correct.
terms of funding.
Very well.
That's all I have right now.
All right. Are there any questions for the manager?
Sorry, just
One
one
more.
more thing.
All right.
Mr. Walter will probably cover this in finance, but I did go ahead and distribute another draft on some additional work that I've done on the appropriations, so everybody can be looking at that, and I guess we'll be going through that at the work session. And so,
All right.
thank you.
Very well.
I think that's it
Okay, that'll be enough for now?
for now.
For now, all right, fair enough. Law director's reports.
Well, after all of that, I have no report.
All right, fair enough. Clerk of council is live.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The November community calendar, ordinance number 50F, resolution number 51 CD, and 52 CD were posted as required. Additionally, the notice of the November 16th Finance Committee meeting, cancellation of the November 16th Recreation Commission meeting and Finance Committee, and the rescheduled Finance Committee meeting of November 29th and the December 13th Planning Commission meeting were also posted as required. I would also like to extend to the mayor, council, village manager, and the citizens of Greenhills a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And if you enjoy the flowers, please take them with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for the clerk? Hearing none, police department, Chief Doyle.
Thank you, Mayor. The police department has sent out our 2011 citizen surveys. We've done this past several years, on the odd years, and we've sent out 500 surveys to addresses which were randomly selected by the administrative staff of the manager. And I would encourage everyone that receives a survey to please complete it and return it to the police department. Every survey is read, and areas of concern will be reviewed and addressed if possible. There are some things that people bring to our attention that the police department doesn't have any power over, but I do forward those on to the appropriate entity, whoever that might be. It might be Duke, or it might be the village manager. Once the surveys have been returned, the data will be tabulated, and as always, it's made available to the public if anyone's interested in what the community has to say about the police department. The holiday season is upon us, and we have some tips we'd like to pass along to make your holiday shopping a little bit safer. Even though you're rushed and thinking about 1,000 things about like what the police department would like for Christmas, we ask that you stay alert to your surroundings and the people around you. Shop before dark if possible. Coordinate shopping trips with a friend if you plan to be out late. Park in well-lighted areas. Don't walk to your car alone. If it's parked in a dark area, contact mall security if that's where you're shopping. They do offer that service, and they will walk with you to your car if you're parked in a dark area. Lock your car, close the windows even if you're going to be gone for just a few minutes. Please lock your packages in the trunk of the car. Out of sight, out of mind applies here. Have your key in your hand when you return. You don't want to be rummaging around in your purse or your pockets or your coat pocket looking for your keys. If you're using public transportation or rides from friends, wait in busy, well-lighted areas. Teach your children to go to a store clerk and ask for help if you become separated from your children while shopping, and tell your children never to go into the parking lot alone and look for your parents. Avoid carrying large amounts of cash, and if you do carry cash, don't carry it all in one place. Pay for your purchases with a check or a debit card or a credit card when possible. And if your debit or credit card is lost, stolen, or misused, notify the issuer immediately. And at home, keep a record of all your credit card numbers and the issuer's phone numbers in a safe place. That way, if something does happen, you've got the number and the phone number that corresponds to that card readily available. And lastly, be extra careful with purses and wallets. Carry your purse tightly under your arm. Don't wrap your the strap around your arm. That's a good way to get dragged to the ground and get hurt. And don't leave it unattended even for a minute. Just that quickly it can be picked up and taken. And those are all the safety tips we've got. Hopefully those will make your shopping experience a little bit better this year. And Mr. Mayor, the last thing I have is our usual reports, the officer activity report, the monthly crime analysis, and our personnel early warning system report are attached to the council report.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Any questions for the police department? Comments? Thank you for the holiday shopping tips. It's kind of a crazy time of year, and I think people lose track of sort of basic safety concerns when you kind of get in the shopping zone. So, appreciate that that update. Chief Spaeth had a family issue and is not able to be here tonight. We did, because he's got a couple of presentations he wants to make at the January council meeting, so I'll just sit back and let him do that then. Mayor's report. The finance department and the police clerk are going to shoot me because I made a big deal about them getting me the audited court receipts, and I neglected to bring them into the room to report, so I'll have to report those at the work session back again in January. But I would like to thank the American Legion for inviting me to speak at their Veterans Day ceremony on the 11th. It's kind of amazing, you know. As I was growing up, the veterans were those guys, my dad's era, who were coming back from, come back from World War II, and there were a few guys from Korea. And of course, as I got a little older, there were a few young men coming back from Vietnam, but they weren't much interested in veterans issues or I think American Legion. But, you know, by that time, that World War II cadre was in full swing, and, you know, things were going well. That group of gentlemen is rapidly departing us. And it's very gratifying to see a lot of the Vietnam era vets, the first Gulf War vets, in, you know, attending these ceremonies and, you know, getting involved with veterans organizations. The subject of my speech was about veteran unemployment. It's well over 12%, pushing 13%, which is several points higher than unemployment in general. So, you know, it's my encouragement to everybody there, if you've got the opportunity to hire an individual, if you have influence in those kind of decisions, consider a vet. These young men and women have undergone a very long period of war here. It's the longest war that our country has gone through. And they deserve a chance to come back and, after some of the horrors that they have seen, to try to integrate into a sort of a reasonable life. So I would encourage you all to do that. I'd spoken, you know, we started a little project up here from this desk, along with the Historical Society, to get the light repaired at the public library, the old light, and a number of the folks in this room donated funds to make that happen. Well, the good news is the light's repaired. The bad news is there's some electrical work that needs to be done before the light can be displayed, and there's some unwillingness on the part of the library administration to fund those improvements to that leasehold, given the problems they've had with the landlord. Myself and members of council were copied on a letter to the shopping center management company, stating in no uncertain terms they expect the leasehold repaired, and it set a deadline, do it by this date or we're going to consider pulling out of here. I have been in touch with the shopping center owner, the shopping center management company. I've been assured that they're working with the library administration, but I'm in the verify part of Trust but Verify. We have spoken about alternative sites. The school district has some space in the community building that may be available for a library facility. There's a question as whether or not the library is willing to fund the the moving of the branch if they do indeed decide to move out. It's kind of a delicate thing at this point. I don't know that there's much that the citizens can do, but feel free if you feel like trying to exert some pressure someplace. That'd be great. But we're going to endeavor very strongly to keep our branch library here. This is a serious deja vu to 2002, when the library board originally announced plans to close 5 branches. They ended up rescinding that decision and making some systemic changes. And I've got to really hand it to the library board for the fortitude and the tough calls they've made over the years as far as reducing service system-wide in order to keep the wide distribution, the 41 branches that are here. One branch has closed. The Roselawn leasehold did close, but a new one, and the Bond Hill Carnegie Library both closed, but a new branch was built in the Jordan Commons Center that our former library manager, Holbert Sample, was the first manager of that facility. All that said, I'm not sure what the future of the public library is. There's information has taken a completely different completely different tack. It's not necessarily printing on paper. Just look at Amazon and Kindles and Nooks and eBooks and email and the trouble that the post office is going through. But the library is not just a purveyor of books, they are a purveyor of information in many forms. I think it's very important that the library maintains its presence here. It is a resource because, frankly, a lot of our records are paper. You can go to our public library and review everything. The Greenhills Guardian, wasn't that the very first paper? What was the name of that first paper, Terry, do you remember? But the predecessor to the Greenhills Forest Park Journal, which is now the Greenhills Journal, right, Georgia? No, I caught her taking notes. But you can go back there and actually read those papers from the 1940s and 1950s. They're an invaluable source of data for those interested in the history of the village. I did some research there last year to find out about the names of the fellows that are on the monument out there, and names that I'd seen for years and years. We've got a street named after Jack Malloy. But who were these guys? So I learned a lot about them. So, needless to say, we're going to work diligently. If there is an opportunity, see, we don't have a public body to exert much pressure on at this point. The real linchpin of this is the president of the Shires. I think we've got to. I'm hoping for a lot of cooperation from our public bodies, the library board, and certainly the school district. I think we've got an excellent relationship with them, and we're going to see what we can work out. I can't make any promises other than we're going to work very diligently to keep our branch here. And aside from that, when it comes calendar time, we can talk about the Christmas light judging. That's been previously announced, but if anybody's got any questions, I'd be happy to take them. Otherwise, we can move on. All right, moving on. Committee reports, finance and audit. Mr. Walterman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a nice going first because I can be the first one to thank Kathy for our poinsettias and thank some other people too. But first, we did have a meeting. During the meeting, we discussed some new reports. Yvonne and Kim Cox put together some year-to-date reports and year-to-date versus appropriation, those kind of things. And we're kind of looking into those and kind of fine-tune those to come up with probably a monthly report and a quarterly report, a little heavier report. The council that's a little bit more meaningful, easier to read. When we come up with those, we'll ask you to give us some feedback information and fine-tune to get you the stuff you need on a monthly basis. But thanks to Yvonne and Kim for the work they've done. I think we've moved ahead quite a bit already. We just need to kind of give them some feedback, Chris and I, and let them know kind of what we think would be best. So that's a short-term thing. That'll happen pretty quick. We discussed the 2012 appropriations extensively. Yvonne and Kim provided a lot of information and explanation for us for that, as well as the fee schedule. By the way, I just ran into something, looking for something else in the charter this week, and there was a $10 fee if you want to tap into a fire hydrant. That fee was passed in 1964. So I don't know if there's any other fees hidden in the charter someplace or not, and I guess we can make that part of the charter review when we get into that, but it doesn't need to be added now. Also wanted to thank the voters. There were some unusual for us anyway, issues this year, and the voters listened to us and took some advice, and I just want to thank them for taking the time to go vote and for listening to and considering their options before they voted. Thank them for all their time and energy reading materials and going out and voting. Turkey raffle, thanks to the fire department, was a great time. Really, a lot of people there this year. Good time. Talked to Tony, and they did very well. You know, they were on the verge of not even doing it, just maybe doing the door-to-door and not really doing the turkey raffle. And I think with the results this year, hopefully we're going to have the turkey raffle for a long time in the future. It went well, and it was very well attended this year. I won 2 turkeys. As usual, they're the most expensive turkeys you can possibly buy. But, at least I did win 2 turkeys. Also, thanks to the service department for doing all the lights on the commons. It looks great. Light at Greenhills was a great time. Somebody already talked about that. We were up there with the grandkids. We had a really good time with that. And lastly, as I always do, please remember to check when you go to renew your licenses that when they hand the form back, it says Greenhills is the benefactor of some of the fees. Many times it gets entered wrong for whatever reason. So check that before you pay your fees and walk out the door. And that's my report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wolfman. Any questions for Finance Nada? Hearing none, Intergovernmental Affairs, Council Rules, Mr. Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks, Kathy. What's this? I'd also just like to wish our retiring council people well, and thank those of you for your service. And sitting next to you, Mr. Burke, Councilman Burke, I want to thank you for helping break me in to this position on the council. You've been a lot of help, so thank you. It's been a privilege to work with both of you. I also wanted to thank all my friends and Greenhills neighbors for all their support for my daughter and my family as she's been having some health issues. I bring this up to thank my friends and neighbors, but to also to shine a light on the spirit of the village. I think we've all, anybody that's lived here for a while, and on council have talked about, you know, there's just something about the village, you can't exactly put your finger on it. But I think this was an example that showed us, you know, why this is such a special place. And it's something that makes our village just really unique. And I just think it's the spirit of our village, and it's to help one another, to genuinely care for your friends and your neighbors. And this was really shown to us in a big way here recently. So it just again added why we love living in Greenhills, and it's an intangible feature of the village that you won't find driving down Winton Road or find on a report written somewhere. So I just urge everybody to keep the spirit that we have in this village healthy, and be there for your Greenhills friends and neighbors, as mine certainly have. So thank you. That's it.
Streets and Services, Mr. Burke, your last.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, initially, a year or so ago, I'm sure like all of the people on council, I was somewhat devastated and a feeling of disbelief when we first heard reports that some tiny little bug from China was infesting all of our ash trees, and that someday they might all be dead. It was sort of disbelief. It's hard to imagine, and of course, being on council, getting this news originally, and we had many experts, arborists, park rangers, so forth, come up here and convince us that this was going to happen. And I thought it was great that we were proactive in the positions that we took along with the village administration. And a lot of people didn't even know about this issue maybe until a large tree might have been removed in front of their home or something, and then they got the devastation, you know, that, oh my gosh, it's just horrible. But I have such a feeling of wonderful, positive feelings that when I drive down the street and I see so many new trees being planted everywhere, not only the number, but the variety. And I understand because we got such a low bid on it, we were able to put protection around them, and we're gonna be getting water bags so that hopefully many of them will live. We got a guarantee, what, 2 years? 2-year guarantee on them, so it's just so positive. It's so like a rebirth of the village, you know, to know that they're all going to be growing and they're all going to be wonderful big trees again. So, and because they're different sizes, and I notice there's big trees, medium trees, little trees. If something happens major down the road, like we understand there's another infestation maybe coming down the line, with all the variety and the different sizes and so forth, I think it's great. Another thing is, you know, the voters passed this gas and electric aggregation program, and we're in full swing with that. And I notice on my bill, I'm already getting the gas rate, but the electric rate is going to start soon. But about a month ago, I got a letter from Duke Energy, and it's sort of very confusing. So I called the administration and I called Duke, and because it says my contract is going to end soon with Duke, and if I don't do something, it's going to go back to Duke again. Of course, we have a new supplier for our electric and a much lower rate than what they're offering. So I called. I went ahead and took the extra step of making sure that everything was as I assumed it was going to be. So I did call Duke and told them to cancel my electric, and I did. After I first called the new aggregator to make sure I was going to have a supplier. And then just today, I got another letter from Duke telling me the same thing. So it's not so much about me. Maybe everybody's getting these letters. And it's so confusing because it implies that you know, you're not going to have any electric service. And I imagine a lot of people are confused by the letters. And maybe if they call the number and say, oh, please don't cancel my electric, and then they'll say, well, would you like to continue? And you say, yes, I need electric. And then you realize you're going to be paying, what is it? They tell you what it is, 6.85 cents per kilowatt hour, and we're getting it for 5.6. So anyone, if you have any questions, what do we recommend? That you don't want 10,000 phone calls, I'm sure.
Well, we have gotten pretty many phone calls, and what we're recommending is people call First Energy, because most of them relate to electric at this point in time.
Right.
And have their account number with them, and call First Energy, give them your account number, and you'll be on the program.
So I'm satisfied I'm taken care of, but I just wondered about people calling Duke and saying, oh my gosh, renew me, you know, and then they're going to pay more for their electric. So beware.
Yeah, I mean, I actually had somebody call today trying to sell me gas service, and I said, oh, how much are you offering? And I read on the rate that I'm getting from our IGS aggregation, and it was about 20% lower. So I said, thank you very much, man. I'll take the 20% I've got.
And did you see with the Cincinnati Bell bill, they're selling it as a green energy policy, because you only get one bill rather than two bills, is how I see it. But actually, they're going into the energy supply business also, and they're asking for you to go with them also, at a higher rate.
Great, always better.
But to stay in the program that we have, you get one of these letters, we really don't need to do anything, isn't that correct?
I would think so, but it does say you have until December the 15th to provide notification that you wish to cancel. So it implies if you don't call by December 15th, you're not going to cancel.
You might want to check, because a lot of
I'm going to call again anyway and say I'm canceling, just because I already did, but I'm doing it
right,
again.
just to be sure. I think a lot of our residents had already signed up for other programs. Many of them went to retail prior to ours. So they're getting it for the electric at this point in time, and the gas is not. But I think that's what's confusing people, because they might be seeing that they're on our program for gas and just assuming, and since it says Duke, that would be the natural thing. But no, if you're getting a letter, you better call and make sure. Call for it's First Energy. Now First Energy is a 3-year contract for us. IGS is a 1-year, and those bids have just gone out at the end of November. Independent.
So we're aggregating with
Other municipalities.
township
Right,
and a
right.
number of other
We
municipalities.
did a 1-year on that, so we could. So the gas is going to be renewing itself soon, but the electric will continue, and yes, that's everybody. I would recommend they call First Energy just to be sure that you're on the program.
That's all.
Thank you. Any questions for Streets and Services? Hearing none. Community Development, Mr. Trees.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks to everyone that attended Light Up Greenhills, and thank you for all the folks that helped make it happen. We've got a bunch of people that really make it happen. And as I was sitting or standing next to Santa, I looked over and I could hardly see the ice carving. There were so many people over there watching it, which was really cool. So that was the first time for that, and I think we'll be able to do that again. You know, I'm a numbers person, so by the numbers, we believe that Santa spoke to 125 kids roughly, and we went through 12.5 gallons of hot chocolate in about 40 minutes, so we'll be upping the hot chocolate budget for next year. So it was an enjoyable evening. The weather was perfect for it. It wasn't too cold, wasn't too warm. It was just right.
Oh, and your ice sculpture lived to
It
ice
did,
another
yes,
day.
it did. We got dual service out of it, so that was very nice. I want to thank everyone for the support of the tax levy, and I want to just reassure citizens, whether they voted for the renewal of the tax levy or if they didn't, that we will continue to be diligent with how we expend your money. It's not our money, it's your money, and so we will continue to be diligent in that. Even after the election, I had breakfast with the treasurer, the person that was in charge of the committee for the opposition, and we exchanged some ideas, and that was enjoyable. Congratulations to the 2 newly elected members of council. I look forward to working with both of you. I want to express appreciation for Chris and for Kenny for their years of service and how they've helped me. Sometimes in the election cycle, there's a lot of paperwork and details, and it's somewhat of a maze to get through if you're doing it by yourself for the first time. And Kenny was always helpful to me with that, so that's just one thing I'm appreciative of him for. And then Chris, I've always said that when I came on council, I had the best seat anybody could have. I had Aki Hoffman to my left, who had been mayor for many, many years, and Chris to my right, who had been on council. And when you first get on council, your first meeting or two, it seems like things are going a little faster than the speed limit, and you're trying to understand, okay, what response is the appropriate one right now, and is this an ordinance or a resolution, or until you get the swing of it, you need people to help you, and you stumble through a few things. And Chris was always there with cliff notes and elbow, or a soft whisper to get me started. So I'm grateful to her for that. And thank you for the poinsettia. And that's the end of my report. At the appropriate time, I will have an ordinance with regard to the fee schedule, an ordinance with regard to a purchase agreement. And I did want to let the citizens know that we have completed a performance review of the village manager. She is, memory serves correctly, about 10 days into her 2nd year of service. And so as part of our oversight, and really the only person that we have oversight for is the municipal manager. All other employees report to her. And so we have completed a performance evaluation for her, and we'll be talking to her in executive session about that. That's the end.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Trees? Well, what's his name?
What's his name?
Red ties.
That'd be me.
Hey, Glenn, I want to thank you for the Light Up Greenhills event. It was a lot of fun.
It's not me, it's a bunch of people,
Yeah,
and
and
me
well,
calling a couple of signals and phone calls.
for your leadership in making it happen, and all your elves. We appreciate all their work, and the fire department appreciated having the ice sculpture as a centerpiece for their annual banquet. So I guess, Chris, you might mention
I
that.
will.
And traffic and safety.
Thank you, Mr.
Councilman
Mayor.
Visich.
Thank you. You're all really lucky because I have some kind of bronchitis or something, so it's gonna keep me from going on and on tonight. So you're lucky about that. I'll get right to the business at hand, and that is that the next Traffic and Safety Committee meeting, my last one, will be next Wednesday, the 14th at 3 p.m. We'll be tying up a few loose ends before my departure. And I want to say that I have the best committee probably on the whole council. I have 2 chiefs and the municipal manager and a council colleague. And so we do deal with some serious issues, a great problem-solving team. And it's been a joy to work with Chief Doyle, who actually is my 4th police chief since I've been working with the police and traffic and safety. So that's my official thing that I'll talk about tonight. Otherwise, attended the annual firemen's dinner meeting last Saturday night, and I think that was my 14th one. And anybody who doesn't have an opportunity to attend those and enjoy them, you're missing the opportunity to really understand why we have a successful volunteer fire department. The spirit, the leadership, the hours of dedication, the caliber of training, the history that is there, the pride they have in it is unbelievable. It's always a delightful opportunity to be their guest and to see firsthand the caliber of people that are taking care of us, our EMS and our fire runs, and we are in good hands, and we need to work really hard to keep them going as long as possible. Thank you, Kathy, for the beautiful poinsettias. Love them. And one will go home with me for sure. I also have had people at times say, you know, do we really need as many police officers as we have? What do they really do? And we do get a monthly report here on council. And I always look at it with great interest. And tonight, I've been looking at traffic stops. Now, probably every one of us will be on Winton Road at times and wish we could do a citizen's arrest because we see somebody speeding. However, looking at tonight's report, this is the year-to-date totals at the end of November. The highest number of traffic stops for the year for one officer is 378. That's more than one a day, and he doesn't work every day. The next one is 296, 246, 174, 141, 168. Those are the top 6, and there's other officers making stops. They do work. They work hard. We have a number of break-ins in the past month that have been kind of interesting and very unexpected in the community. And so there's always plenty to take care of, and they do a great job for us. And so I want to thank you folks. You're not always in the limelight. No one notices always all that you're doing, but I always pay attention to that. So thank you, and thank all of you for being a great team to work with. I will have to say the same as Kenny has said, that in my years on council, the caliber of the people here working together is unbelievable. Almost everybody here has a real job, and all of this that we do is a hobby, I guess. We spend hours on this. You know, the least little thing that happens that causes a ripple, we are in touch with it. We are problem solving. We are working on it. We have dreams for this community, and I have to say that there is nothing, I mean absolutely nothing, that we have passed or worked on in the past 3-5 years that has not originated here or with someone on council. We have discussed a lot of things in the background at other meetings. And so when people take credit for accomplishments here, you can bet your life that most of it originated here before any place else. So thank you to all of you. It's been a pleasure. And I will count on continuing to see you around the town.
Thank you, Chris. We appreciate your service and good offices here. It's been a great thing. Any questions for traffic and safety? Hearing none. Mr. Hermes.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. At the proper time, I like to, well, this is the proper time. At this time,
big fella.
I'm going to embellish a little bit more about Kenny Burke and Christian business. I guess starting, when I went to Roger Bacon, first year you always had a big brother. Kind of show you around, it's usually a junior or senior. They didn't want to deal with you, but they, you know, I had a guy who kind of showed me around. He was a nice guy. This is Big Sis, right here. And show me the ropes, just because when you first start, you're naive and foolish and don't know what to do. And she kind of guided me through things. The thing that I love about Christine is how organized she is and how detailed she is. And it's like a cheat sheet right here. I can just look at everything and go, oh yeah, that's right. So, it's really wonderful. And plus I got the archive for council resolutions and responses. She gave this to me, so God love you. Kenny, you know, Mr. Personality, Mr. One-Liner, always kept, you still keep me on my toes as far as what I'm supposed to be doing, how I'm supposed to be doing this, especially around election times and getting information in, how to do things the proper way. A very detailed and organized man when it comes to that, and I thank you for that too as well. We are going to be having a Recreation Commission meeting tomorrow night, for the last one of the year. It's 8 o'clock here at the upper floor. And that's really all I have to say. Oh, thank you. Awesome. Appreciate it.
All right, any questions for Recreation Cable TV?
I'd just like to thank Recreation. We use the robo-calling system for Light Up Greenhills. Work great. And if folks don't have their number in that, you can call the municipal office and say, my name's Fred Jones and here's my phone number. Please add my list to the robocalling. We have, I believe, 830 homes get a call for recreation type issues. And at some point, we're going to look at the potential to use it if there was a natural disaster or some kind of serious thing where we had to notify all residents very, very quickly. So it'd be good to have everybody's name.
All right. Moving on to new business. Mr. Treese, I think we're going to light it up with you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, I have an ordinance adopting a Village of Greenhills fee schedule and declaring an emergency. I move to suspend the rule requiring the ordinance 2 times on 2 separate occasions and reading the ordinance in its entirety.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to suspend the rule requiring reading this ordinance 2 times on 2 separate occasions and reading this ordinance in its entirety. Is there any discussion of the motion? Hearing none. All in favor of the rule suspension, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please signify by saying nay. Are there any abstentions? Rule suspension passes.
I move to retain the emergency clause in this ordinance.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to retain the emergency clause in this ordinance. Is there any discussion regarding the emergency clause?
Just a comment, the reason for the emergency clause is so that we can have this fee schedule in place effective the 1st of the year. We've been working on it for a little while.
Very well. If there's no further discussion, all in favor of the retention of the emergency clause, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please signify by saying nay. Are there any abstentions? The emergency clause passes.
I move to adopt this ordinance.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance 2011-53 CD, an ordinance adopting a Village of Greenhills fee schedule and declaring an emergency. Mr. Trees, any discussion of the ordinance?
No, this is just an ordinance that pulls together all of our fees, and there have been some adjustments to it. We've spoken about that, about the fees previously at work sessions. The fee schedule will be posted on the website. Is that correct?
All right. Very well. Any other discussion regarding the ordinance?
It'd be nice to have the attachments. It has 4 or 5 places where it says
Right.
attached. We don't have them.
It's on the back of the one originally.
So I didn't know to what extent you wanted all of these.
Well, I don't have to have it to vote tonight, but I think it would be good for us to have them.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it obviously needs to be on the
Yes.
website in its entirety. All right.
It's on the back of the original.
The attachments are not,
But,
The
right.
schedule
Some of
is,
them
but
are
there's a couple of
bullet
attachments
links,
that aren't.
like-
there's 4 or 5.
Okay.
All right. If there's no further discussion, would the clerk call the roll, please?
Adams,
Aye.
Burke,
Aye.
Dries,
Aye.
Hermes,
Aye.
Biznich,
Aye.
Walterman,
Aye.
Merle,
I don't know.
Not a tie.
It's around the time, it's okay. The ordinance is carried. Glenn, you wanna go ahead and do?
Sure. I have a ordinance authorizing the municipal manager to execute a purchase agreement for the sale of real property located at 7 Chalmers and declaring an emergency. Whereas the Village of Greenhills is the owner of the property located at 7 Chalmers Lane, and whereas the village has received an offer to purchase the said property by Batia Sullivan, and whereas the council for the Village of Greenhills has determined it is in the best interest of the village to sell said property to Batia Sullivan pursuant to the terms of a purchase agreement, now therefore be it ordained by the council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, members elected thereto concurring. Section 1, that the municipal manager is authorized to execute a purchase agreement substantially in the form of the agreement attached hereto as Exhibit A and incorporated herein by reference with the form of any changes or modifications to be approved by the law director and the substance of any changes or modification to be approved by the municipal manager. Section 2, that the municipal manager is further authorized to execute any and all documents and take all necessary steps to complete the sale of said property pursuant to the terms of a finalized purchase agreement as authorized by Section 1 herein. Section 3, that this ordinance is and shall be effective from and after the earliest period allowable by law. I move for the suspension of the rule requiring the ordinance 2 times on 2 separate occasions.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to suspend the rule requiring reading this ordinance 2 times on 2 separate occasions. Is there any discussion regarding the rule suspension? Hearing none, all in favor of the rule suspension, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please signify by saying nay. Are there any abstentions? Rule suspension is passed.
I move to insert the emergency clause in this ordinance.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to insert the emergency clause in this ordinance. Mr. Trees, the rationale.
The rationale for inserting the emergency clause is so that the real estate deal can close as soon as possible. It's for contract reasons. We have an anxious buyer and an enthusiastic seller.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the retention of the emergency clause, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please signify by saying nay. Are there any abstentions? The emergency clause is hereby inserted in this ordinance.
I move to adopt this ordinance.
Is there a second?
Second.
And it's moved and seconded to adopt ordinance 2011, and I'm guessing this will be 54 CD, authorizing the municipal manager to execute a purchase agreement for the sale of real property located at 7 Chalmers Lane and declaring an emergency. Is there any discussion?
And am I correct, because we've talked about several things, I just want to make sure that people get the accurate information. This is a current tenant that we are selling the property to. So that is very consistent with our goals.
Yes, it is. I'm also pleased it's our first sale and follow-up to the homebuyer workshop we had in September.
Are there others?
I believe so. So it's moving along quickly.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, clerk call the roll, please.
Burke,
Aye.
Dries,
Aye.
Hermes,
Aye.
Isnich,
Aye.
Walterman,
Aye.
Adams,
Aye.
The motion, the ordinance passes. According to the charter, I'm not allowed to vote, but I can introduce motions before council. So I would like to introduce a motion to reappoint Mr. James Borner to the Board of Zoning Appeals. He's served on the BZA this past few years. His term expires at the end of this month. Mr. Borner's attended the training from Hamilton County Planning Commission for planning and BZA folks, and he's a thoughtful and intelligent young man. I'd like to see him continue on. So, the motion's on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to reappoint Mr. James Borner to the Board of Zoning Appeals. I guess I've made the case for him. So if there's no further discussion, would the clerk call the roll, please?
Dries,
Aye.
Hermes,
Aye.
Isnich,
Aye.
Walterman,
Aye.
Adams,
Aye.
Burke,
Aye.
Well, Jim, you're back on. All right, I think that's the end of the new business. Calendar items, as Mr. Hermes pointed out, Recreation Commission tomorrow night at 7 to 8 p.m. in this room. The council will be joining me to do the holiday decoration judging on Wednesday night, the 14th. I guess.
Let's practice.
No. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're the no guy, aren't you? Well, I appreciate that, Kenny, but we'll see how that goes. And I'm going to try to actually have the awards mostly printed up, 250 of them ready to go.
That'd be a first.
It would be a first, it certainly would. So hopefully everybody out there, make sure your lights are on by 6:30 next Wednesday, okay? And it's going to be dry this weekend, though, a little chilly, so you'll have the opportunity. Chris, you had a traffic and safety?
Wednesday the 14th, that afternoon.
3 p.m.
Planning Commission,
Planning Commission on the 13th,
7 o'clock.
7 p.m. You're going to do it at 5:45?
Nope.
No, okay,
Sorry.
That's all right, that's all right. Planning Commission, anything else?
Mr. Mayor,
Ma'am?
I believe that there is supposed to be a special council meeting on the next work session.
There's likely to be, if there's need to, for there will be. Well, it's typical to supplemental appropriations at the end of the year to make everything, so all the balls fall in the right place. So there'll likely be a special session preceding the work session on the.
Would it be appropriate to put it on the calendar to serve the public notice?
Certainly. I think that's probably worthwhile, because it sounds like it's not an if, it's a when kind of deal, which is pretty typical, Oftentimes, we would hold off the formal council meeting to later in the month to deal with that, but I think the special session's probably better to deal with it.
Thank you
All
for the
right.
clarification.
If there's nothing else, Mr. Jennings, that means you have a motion.
Yes, I have a motion to convene to executive session related to the performance of value of a village employer, specifically the municipal manager. After that time, no action will be taken, and we will return to regular session.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to move to executive session. There will be no formal action taken pursuant to that executive session. It's our intent to adjourn immediately from regular session once the executive session is complete. Is that, okay, that's a reasonable summation of what I just heard. Very well. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Hermes,
Aye.
Biznich,
Aye.
Walterman,
Aye.
Adams,
Aye.
Burke,
Aye.
Dries.
Aye.
All right, we're in executive session. Thank you all very much. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah, happy holidays, and all those other things that happen in December.